California of the past.
I am California of the past. I am California of the past.
My parents got married by proxy. My name is Nafisa Haji. My parents originally came here in the late 60s. My dad came first to study engineering at Stanford. At the time, student visas were very easy to get for students coming to study science because Sputnik had just been launched by the Russians and we were in a mad dash to increase our scientific knowledge. And so anyone who was going to study science was welcome. Before my dad left Pakistan, he was already engaged to be married to my mom. He met her and fell in love with her when she was about 16. Their marriage was not a conventional marriage for what was traditional at the time and still is in many places in the world. They didn't have an arranged marriage. They had a love match, which means that they basically met each other on their own and their marriage was not arranged by their parents. Things went pretty smoothly though because it was an approved of marriage. So it wasn't like they had a Romeo and Juliet story or anything like that. So when my dad came, he was already engaged. And the way the plan was, he was going to come here, do his graduate work. My mom was going to finish up her studies in Pakistan, and then they would get married when he was done. But the problem was, when he got here, he was extremely lonely. And so he pushed to move the marriage date up on the schedule. My mom had a bit of a disagreement with her father about that. She wanted to come, she wanted to get married sooner too. My grandfather absolutely did not want to give her permission for that because he thought she should finish college first. It was the first time she ever defied him and had an argument, a big one. She said that you can make me stay, but you can't make me study. Eventually, she got her way. The problem was that travel was extremely expensive at the time, and the way that the plan had been made, my dad wasn't planning to go back till he was done, and he couldn't afford to go back for the wedding. So my parents got married by proxy. I'm not even sure if it's legal, actually. They were halfway around the world from each other. The documents and papers were signed and sent to each other in the mail. They had a nice wedding, a reception in Pakistan. My mom was dressed up in her sari and her jewelry, a lovely bride. Problem was, there was no groom. She was all by herself. I've often thought about what a strange journey that trip must have been for her, from coming to California from Pakistan. On the way, she stopped in Europe. You had to stop. And that was where she saw television for the first time. Television was about to be launched in Pakistan, but it hadn't been when she left. And that was her first experience with it. And then arriving in San Francisco, picked up at the airport by the man she loved, the man who had been her fiancé the last time she saw him, and now he was her husband. Must have been a pretty strange experience. I think that one of the things my mom always did regret, though, was that argument she had with her father about not finishing college. It was something she always planned to go back and do. And 2 years later, I was born. She didn't really have much chance to do it then. And then family grew, and she didn't really go back to college until I grew up and started college. Then she started taking classes down the street at the community college near our house and went from there to the nearest Cal State, eventually graduating summa cum laude. She got her teacher's credential and has been teaching first grade ever since. I think that whole journey was her way of making up for not finishing college in the first place. And in doing so, she taught me a lesson about going back and finishing what you didn't finish before and remaking yourself, and the opportunity to go back and start all over again in a different way, in a different field. Something that's she's always appreciated about living in California. We have an educational system that allows that. People who have been out of school can go back.